There is a folder on your computer right now, 40 files in it. Somebody needs a summary of all of them by Friday. You know exactly how to do that job. It is not hard. It is just 4 hours you do not have. That gap between knowing how and having the time is the entire reason Cowork exists. So here is what it actually is, in 6 minutes. One rule on this channel. If a 15-year-old could not follow it, I explained it wrong. Start with the one idea everything else hangs on. Chat is asking. Cowork is delegating. When you use a chat box, you ask a question and you get an answer back. Then you go and do something with that answer. You are still the one doing the work. Cowork flips that. You describe the finished thing you want, and it goes and produces it. Anthropic's own wording is that you give it a goal and it returns a finished deliverable. That is the difference. Not intelligence. Ownership of the task. Now, how it can possibly do that? Two things had to change. The first is access. Cowork can see real files and folders on your computer, but only the ones you point at. You grant it a folder. It can read and write inside that folder and nowhere else. That sounds like a small detail. It is the thing that makes the rest possible. A chat box can only see what you paste into it. Once it can open the folder itself, 40 documents stops being 40 copy and pastes. The second is time. A chat answer arrives in seconds because it has to. A Cowork task runs for minutes, sometimes far longer, doing steps in order. Read the files, pull the numbers, draft the summary, build the spreadsheet, check it. And it does that while you are somewhere else. The work runs on Anthropic servers, so you can close the laptop, and the job carries on without you. Now, the 3 things people get wrong. First, people assume Cowork is a coding tool with a friendlier face. It does use the same machinery underneath as Claude code. But Anthropic built it for the opposite person. Their own description names researchers, analysts, operations teams, legal and finance. People who work with documents and data all day and have never opened a terminal. Second, people assume it does the clever part of your job. It mostly does not. Anthropic looked at 1.2 million Cowork sessions in May, and about half of all use was what they call the work around the work. Status updates, slide decks, reconciling spreadsheets, turning research into a report, organizing and deduplicating folders. The single biggest category, business process and operations, was 33%. None of that is the judgment part of anybody's job. It is the part sitting in front of the judgment part. Their own example says it well. A lawyer uses it for document formatting and filing, which buys back hours for the actual legal thinking. Third, and this is the one that matters, people assume you have to trust it blindly. You do not. You choose which folders it can reach. You choose which connected apps it can use, and whether each one has to ask before it acts. Deleting anything needs your approval, and you can stop a task at any point. So, what makes a good task? This is where most people go wrong on day 1. A bad task is a question. What is a good format for a status update? A good task is an outcome with a boundary. Read every file in this folder, pull out the 3 numbers each one reports, put them in a spreadsheet, and flag anything that disagrees. Notice what that second one has: a clear finishing line, real inputs, and something you can check at the end. The more precisely you can describe done, the better this works. That is true of handing work to a person too. All of it in one breath. Chat answers questions. Cowork produces finished work. It can do that because you give it access to specific folders and apps, And because it runs in the background for as long as the job takes instead of replying instantly. It is aimed at document and data work, not coding. Most of what people use it for is the admin wrapped around their real job. And you keep the controls the whole way through. The useful part is what that leaves you with. None of this makes you better at your job. What it does is hand back the hours that were never really your job in the first place. The formatting, the chasing, the rebuilding of the same report every month. That time goes back to the part only you can do. Explained like you were 15. Because somebody should have.